All right, welcome to the channel. Over the next couple months, we're going to be doing a full series on manual swapping this C4 behind me. In today's video, we're going to get into a little bit about the whys and hows, and talk a little bit about what's already done to the car and why we're getting started on it. All right, so first thing first, what everyone always talks about is, should I buy an auto and manual swap it later if I can't find a manual car within my price range? And I'll be the first one to tell you, no. If you're looking at buying a C4, just buy one that's a manual. Spend the extra couple $1,000s to get the 6-speed. It's a lot of work to do this. And for most people, it's not going to be cost effective. And most people don't have the space or the tools or the knowledge on how to do it effectively to make a reliable car on the end. However, if you're like me and you have a car that is already heavily modified, you know every nut and bolt on the car, and you're ready to go to a manual, there are ways to do it that are very cost effective. So before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about what this car is, what it's done. I've had this car for well over 10 years now. Bought it as a bone stock car with around 130,000 miles on it. Ran and drive, no major issues. Right around 130,000 miles, 132 I think. Since then, when I first got into it, I started building it for drag racing. Went out and was running 13 3s, 13 4s with a 275 radial in the back. Right now, it currently has a stage 1 transmission from a company out in Florida called Trans Depot with a 2800 stall converter. Once I got that in there, did a base tune on the car, tuned for the stall converter. Was able to run 1280s pretty consistently with a 1.7 60 foot and 105 out the back and a quarter. And that was pretty good. And, you know, doing what the car I wanted to do with bracket racing, was able to take it out, win a few trophies with it, won bracket champion at the LTX shootout in 2021 and true street champion at the LTX shootout as well in 2021. Made for a really consistent bracket car that was, you know, not the fastest thing out there, but with a good reaction time and everything, was able to win quite a bit of money and quite a bit of trophies with this car. It already has been upgraded with all of the polyurethane bushings, the real red hard bushings to make the chassis pretty stiff. It's on coilovers, so I do have the Van Steel coilover system, so it does sit pretty low, double adjustable shocks. Full exhaust system through a company that's no longer in business called Slick Flow. That was a header back stainless exhaust system that was put on the car. The engine itself has never been touched. It's a completely stock engine. Had the intake off just to replace gaskets here and there, but other than that, completely stock engine. Does have the SLP intake on it, and a base tune. And that's pretty much it as far as the inside or outside of the car goes. We did do a C6 brake conversion on the car as well. We've got to get rid of those junk rotors that were on it, but gives a little bit more stopping power. After I got done kind of drag racing the car, I got more into road course racing with it, and the brake fade on it was just ridiculous with the base brakes, really to where it was unsafe. So going to the C6, you get the bigger caliper, bigger rotor. The big thing is the keeping the rotor cool. So it is a big, thick, vented rotor, which allows for a lot better brake cooling and a lot safer when you're out on the track. As far as the inside goes, we do have harness bar, 5-point harness, race seats. That's about it on the inside. Other than that, I've kept it pretty well stock. I like the clean stock look. I do have a wideband air fuel ratio and then a trans temp gauge. But other than that, try to keep it as clean and stock as possible on the inside. In the back, also on the van still, double adjustable coilover. All of the bushings have been changed in the suspension to the polyurethane red bushings. And then also have a rear mount trans cooler. The big thing for that, and the big reason I'm switching to a manual on this car, is I can just not keep that transmission cool. One is because it's a drag transmission with a stall converter. Two, it's because I'm taking out and road course racing it. And those two things just don't get along. So this is actually the third transmission I've had to put in this car. The auto that's in it today broke the factory one autocrossing. Second one had a torque converter fail, was replaced under warranty. And this third one's been a pretty good transmission, but I just can't keep it cool. I'm seeing temperatures around 280 after 3 or 4 laps at some of these road courses. And it's getting so hot that it just starts blowing trans fluid out of the vent tube. So we went ahead and decided that I'm going to rip that auto out and put it in a manual in it. Just because that's more of what I'm doing now is the road course and autocross stuff rather than drag racing. Just kind of have gotten away from that. It takes a lot of money to go real fast in drag racing. In the road course stuff, most of the time you're just racing against yourself. Not near as much money opportunities to win as there is in drag racing, but you get a lot more seat time, and to me it's just more fun to do that over the drag racing right now. All right, so that's kind of the history on the car and where it's at today. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. So we are going to do the full manual swap on this. So going to do a Dana 44 rear end conversion. This currently has the smaller Dana with the 307 gear set, which is the preferred gear set for the auto. But if we were to leave that in there, 6 gear would basically be unusable in the 6-speed car. So all of the Dana 44 whole rear suspension is here. However, we're just going to take the pig, so the bat wing, the housing, and the stub axles. Everything else we're going to leave in the car. We're going to use the prop shafts that are in the car already. We'll replace all the U-joints, but everything else will stay the same just because I know this stuff in here is cleaner, and I've been working on it over the years, so it's all got really nice, good stuff in it. With the 6-speed swap, you also do need the different C-beam and the different drive shaft. So we've got those here. We've got our master cylinder. We've got our clutch pedal, brake pedal, bell housing, everything ready to go for that. So when you're switching the 6-speed and the rear end, you do have to have the drive shaft and the C-beam to make that conversion because the Dana 44 is a little bit different geometry. We do have our black tag ZF here that we're going to be putting in the car. A little bit interesting about this car, we'll get into the donor car that I bought, but the car that I bought was a 94, which should have had a blue tag in it, and came out and had a black tag in it, which for me, I prefer. A little bit noisier, but supposedly a little bit stronger. So I'm actually happy that someone had swapped that at one point in time. We are going to go in and throw in one of the silencer shim kits in it, just because I am going to be running a single mass flywheel on here eventually, and these transmissions are noisy to begin with, and you put a single mass in here and it just makes all kinds of noise. Not super worried about the noise itself, but I do street drive it occasionally, so we'll try to make it a little more considerable for that. Did take a section out of the donor car for the tunnel. Difference between the auto and the manual is they don't have this pocket here, so I took out way more than I need, but we'll trim all this up and get it spliced into the car. The other thing, this came with a short throw shifter in it already, so that was pretty cool. Don't know what brand it is, but it seems like it's built pretty nice. Got rid of the reverse lockout portion of it, if I can get it here, but it's got the crash through section to get into reverse, so should work. We'll take everything apart that we can as far as the rear seals, front seals, try to reseal it, clean it up real nice before it goes in. But But yeah, so that's basically what we got out of the donor car that we needed. Got a spare engine now, which I'm in the midst of tearing down. I'm going to build that up and have this one sitting on the shelf ready to go. Do have, you know, the intake and clutch and all that other stuff, and the computer. Most people that do the swap would just swap the computer in. However, I'm not going to do that. We'll do a whole video series about tuning differences from the auto and manual. So we're going to keep the factory ECM in it, and I will tune it. Tune the auto out of it and the particular manual sets in it, and we'll do I'll do a whole video just on that. I want to talk about, though, the next thing, cost wise. So most people, when they say this, it costs way more to do a manual swap on an auto than if you just go buy a manual to begin with, and that I don't agree with. Now, if you can take labor out of the equation like I'm going to, yes, this is very, very cheap to do. I bought a complete donor car that was crashed for $2,600 a couple hours away from me. So I went up there on trailer, picked it up, and brought it back. And from there, sold off everything that I wasn't going to use, and cut in a video here of the things that I sold off and the money that we got back from that. So all right, so for the cost breakdown, like I said, paid $2,600 for this donor car. Just hitting some of the big ticket items. So the Target had a really nice glass blue top. Got $600 for that. C5 wheels that were on it was $400. Rear bumper $225. Seats had the sport seats in it, $375 there. Cluster $200. HVAC controller $100. The whole front suspension, cradle and all, I got $600 for. Rear release spring was $200. So coming down right at $1,160 currently. Profit wise, do have, you know, a handful of other miscellaneous parts. You can see this list isn't very long. A handful of other miscellaneous parts that I could probably get sold. I've done all of this just through a simple Facebook Marketplace post saying, hey, I've got a parts car, let me know what you need. If I really wanted to dig into it, put things on eBay, advertise it, probably another $1,000 worth of parts pretty easily, you know, selling, you know, a lot of $10, $20 components. Just really don't have the time or the interest to do that right now. So I'm going to leave that Facebook Marketplace post up. Every couple of weeks I have someone hit me up about something. We'll just continue to watch that and see if we get any more income coming in from that. That we can put right towards the rest of this swap. $2,600 so far. I've sold over $3,700 worth of parts off the car, plus have everything left here with the manual. So I'm actually up $1,100, almost $1,200 thus far, which means I'm going to get my new clutch and flywheel for free, basically. That's going to cover the cost of that. Now, there's going to be a handful of other parts I'm going to have to buy to put into the car. Like throwout bearing, might end up replacing the master and the slave, and we'll just kind of see as how we go along. I'm not going to rush this. I'm going to go. We got all winter to work on it, so I'm going to make sure everything's super clean and super nice as it goes back together, so that hopefully I don't have to mess with it in the spring when I go back out to the track. And then on top of that, I do plan to sell the trans and the converter that's in it. It's still okay, I would say. Might be due for a set of clutches, but it still drives just fine, shifts through all the gears, just doesn't like to get hot. The normal street-driven car or someone that's drag racing would be perfectly fine. So should be able to get a couple $100 out of that trans, the auto trans, when I get it out. And then I'll be selling the rear diff as well with the 307 gear set. Which for anybody that has an auto that has the bigger gear set or smaller gear set, this 307 will get a lot more pop from the starting line. So I'm sure someone will end up wanting to buy that as well, which hopefully should turn around and make this relatively free for me to do, minus my labor, which to me is a pretty damn good deal. Based on what I use the car for, it should be much more reliable for me. It's obviously not going to be as fast in the quarter mile, But that comes down to me just probably being too nice to it when I'm shifting and not worrying about burning up the clutch. But that's going to be it for today's video. The next episode, we'll get into ripping the interior apart first. We'll get it up in the air. We'll drop the transmission, probably in a second video. And we'll do the rear diff last. Like I said, we got to scab in that tunnel still, so we'll get going on that. But yeah, this is really probably a long weekend type job, but I'm definitely going to spread it out over the next couple weeks. Taking my time, making sure everything's nice and sparkly clean, and waiting for parts to show up and things like that. So appreciate you joining in. I'm looking forward to doing this swap and seeing what it does. Hopefully someone can learn something from this and might be able to pick up and have the confidence now to do your own manual swap on it. Thanks for hanging out.